Hello, this is Kwame Kuadey. Thank you for visiting my website. I am glad you're here, and I wanted to give you a brief background about myself. I wanted to tell you 3 stories from my past that I think is going to give you a synopsis of who I am, what I'm about, and why I'm so passionate about a relentless pursuit of personal growth. And at the end, I hope that you come on a journey with me. What I do is I help people get started on their journey, and not only that, I want to help you overcome every obstacle that comes your way in the pursuit of your dreams and your goals. So, 3 stories. The first story happened in Ghana. I'm born and raised in Ghana. I came to the United States when I was 19 years old to attend college. And the first story happened when I think I was 10 years old. So I was living with my aunt in a city called Tema. Tema is next to the biggest city in Ghana, which is Accra. Accra is the biggest city, and Tema is like a sister city next door. And so I was living with my aunt in grade school, and one day my dad shows up and tells me to pack my bags. We're leaving. So what had happened was that I was made to skip a grade. And so that put me into middle school a year ahead of time. And my dad found out, and he was unhappy about it because the government has changed the system. And so the new system, I was put in the new system of education, and he preferred the old system. So he came in one day and told me to pack my bags. We're leaving. And he had gotten a job in a village with a road construction company, and he was taking me there to go attend boarding school. Now, in Ghana, all the good schools are boarding schools. A lot of, it's normal to go to boarding school for middle school and high school. And so he was taking me from this place that I was living with my aunt with all, new friends and everything. He's plugging me and taking me to this village. And mind you, this village has no electricity, no water, and I am going to a boarding school. And it was one of the most challenging times of my life, because here I am trying to adjust to skipping a grade and what that meant for me. And then, it's a good thing, but also it's very scary for a kid my age. And then now my dad comes and takes me to the village, and I'm living in the city. We have electricity, we have water. I have all these modern comforts that I was living with my aunt and enjoying. And then I am being taken to the village. My dad told me, I'm going to spend 3 years there attending boarding school, and then he's going to, transfer me and get me a better school and come back to the city. Well, that didn't happen. I was in that school for 5 years. And I remember there were things that happened there that today, when I look back, were some of the most formative things that have happened in my life. So, we're in a boarding school, there's no water. So we have to go draw water, not only for ourselves, to bathe and take care of yourself, but also for the kitchen to prepare our food. So every morning we have to get up, and go draw maybe 2 or 3 buckets of water. We put it on your head. It's about maybe half a mile to a mile each way. Come back, go back, come back before you get one for yourself, and then you bathe, and then you go to class. And then after class, you do the same thing, because the kitchen that is preparing your food needs water. So with the students, go draw the water, and then you draw one for yourself for your own needs. And not only that, we had no electricity. So we're using kerosene lamps to study. And you can imagine, I am 10 years old and I am being plugged from my comfort to this place. And I resented my dad for that. I resented the experience. It was hard. Everything we had to do was manual. We had to clean the grounds of the school. Everything, there were no lawnmowers. Everything has to be done. We used machetes to cut grass. It was hard. But I graduated at the top of my class. I spent 5 years there. I graduated at the top of my class, and I came back to the city for the last 2 years of my high school. But those 5 years I spent in that boarding school were the most formative experiences I've ever had. It taught me so many lessons that I carry today, that you can overcome anything, any change that happens in your life. It may be as a shock to you in the beginning, but it's always there to give you lessons that are lifelong if you just pay attention to them. And those were the formative times for me in learning how to be resourceful, in learning how to overcome every challenge, in learning how to be adaptable. I tell people, look, I can live in comfort and I can live in scarcity. You know, I can survive in every environment, because if you've lived in a village with no electricity, no water, no plumbing, and you have to go to boarding school, and then you have to study with kerosene lamps, and you have to go draw water, and you have to do all this manual labor things. We even had a school farm that every Saturday we had to go and work at the school farm. And remember, there are no tools of modern comfort for farming. We're using manual labor. And as much as I resented that experience, it taught me some of the most valuable lessons that I've learned in life. And it's part of who I am and has shaped me. So that's the first story. Second story also happened in Ghana. So picture this. I had come back to the city, and I've finished my last 2 years of high school. Fortunately, I was, again, top of my class. So I had, straight A's, and I had applied. And then, a friend had introduced me to the idea that, look, you have grades that would get you into any school in the world. So why don't you just go to the UK and go to university? So I applied to the London School of Economics. It's one of the best schools, one of the top schools in the world. And I got in. I got full tuition. All I needed was a place to stay. So a few months before, I had met a family friend who said, hey, you can come and stay with me. He lived in London, and he was excited that I got into this great school, and all I needed was accommodation, and he was gonna, take care of that. One day, we didn't have a telephone in our house in Accra, so the next door neighbor had a telephone, and one day we got a call. And usually when you get a call and we have to go get the phone, it means that it's either great news or bad news, because people don't usually call our neighbor if it's not serious, because we don't have a phone at home. So I got the call. It was for me, and it was this guy telling me that no, he cannot provide the accommodation. This was like 2 months before I was supposed to go to London and start school. I was crushed. I mean, imagine. I'm 18 years old. I'm ready to go to college, and I'm going to London. I'm going to start a new life, a better life. And here he says, no, it can't happen. I had no backup. There was nothing I could do about it. And I remember that moment very vividly. It was one of the most challenging times of my life. As 18, as challenging as a life could be for an 18-year-old, I was crushed. And I decided, okay, I'm going to try again. I am going to apply to the United States. I had applied before, but I didn't take it too seriously. I wrote the SATs again because I was focused on going to London, and that was a straight, far easier application process because it's similar to the system in Ghana. So I took my SATs again, and I remember studying every single day, using that pain as fuel and studying every single day. I wrote my SATs and applied to a lot of the Northeast liberal arts schools, and I got a full ride to Middlebury College. And that is how I came to the United States. I look back on that experience and that pivotal moment, and it's sometimes things happen in your life, you don't know what they mean, and it's only later before you realize what they truly mean. My life could have been so radically different, but here I am in the United States, very happy. Great life that I've had here, the success that I've had, everything that this country has given me, I am grateful for. And it happened because a moment came where I thought I was heading in one direction, and life took me in a different direction. And here I am. So I say all that to say that taught me that things happen for a reason, and things can happen, devastating things can happen in your life, but they happen for a reason. So you have to be patient and trying to figure out, what is this adversity teaching me? There's always a lesson in adversity. There's always a lesson in challenges. And some of the things I'll be talking about as you follow me is all these lessons and how to overcome challenges, how to take any adversity that happens to you and use it as fuel to get to the next level. And I have tools and methodologies that I've developed that I know are going to benefit you and help you get to where you're trying to go. And then the final story. So fast forward, I used to work for Citigroup. I was unhappy. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I started my business, Gift Card Rescue. I went on Shark Tank. And if you read my bio, the rest is history. I achieved tremendous success with that company, and life was good. And then one day, it all came crashing down. I mean, if you had lived what I've lived, picture this. You feel like you're on top of the world. I mean, not only was the company so successful, I was not only on Shark Tank, but I was able to build a company to a multi-million, $60 million in revenue while I ran it. In total, I was on Inc. 500. We made it on the Inc. 5000 list 3 years in a row. By every measure of success, this company was successful. I was featured in every magazine you can think of for my entrepreneurial success. Inc. Magazine, Entrepreneur, The Wall Street Journal, New York Times, NPR, Washington Post. I had achieved everything that an entrepreneur could wish for, especially with your first business. And then on top of that, I was voted an EY Entrepreneur of the Year in Maryland. The EY Entrepreneur of the Year award is one of the most prestigious, if not the most prestigious award any entrepreneur can win. I don't know if there's anything beyond that. And I won that in Maryland, and so it was a good time. And then it all came crashing down. And there's, this how that happened and the lessons I learned from it is another video. But the point was that this success that I thought was going to last didn't last. It came to an end. And it put me in a personal situation that was excruciating for the next 3 years while I shut down the company, lay off my employees, get my personal life together. I have a family to feed, then my reputation is all built around this company. And here I am back to square one to start over again. But here again, there was a lesson in this. Now I have discovered my true purpose. Through that adversity, I have discovered what my true purpose is. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was still running that company, because I could barely come up for air. It was successful, but the bigger the company, the more responsibilities you have, the more stresses you have time for literally nothing else. But I was able to start a new company, Thrive, a digital agency, and now I'm actually pursuing my true purpose, which is helping people start their dreams and help them power through, push through, overcome every obstacle and achieve success. But ultimately, my passion is helping you become your best self, taking you on a personal growth journey that will change your life. So, as I said, I have a bio below that tells you my story in terms of what I've done, but I wanted to share this personal story with you to connect you to my dream and my desire and my passion so that you understand why I'm so passionate about these things, and to give you a window about, I have walked the walk. I am not just, I didn't just pop up and start talking about these things. I've walked the walk. My life experiences have been a story about what I'm trying to tell people and educate people on and teach people to have, techniques that will help you, number one, to live in the present. Number two, to be able to start on any dream that you want to pursue. Number three, to be able to push through, to persevere, to overcome every obstacle and that will come your way. And number four, to live a life of always striving to be your best self. So if this sounds good to you, subscribe to my newsletter, follow me on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to go on this journey with you. And while you're learning from me, I hope I can learn from you too. If you have any questions at all, anything at all you want to ask me, ping me. I'll be happy to respond. Thank you.